G'day again, my name's Paul Morrison. Great to be with you as we host these Stronger Together conversations in conjunction with Creating Communities. We've had various leaders and people from our community with voice of experience to help us navigate these times of COVID-19. And joining me today is a special guest. He's a photographer. He's also advocate for those with a disability. We're chatting to Jamin Hudson. G'day, Jamin. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you going?
Yeah, going good. Thanks for joining us all the way from beautiful Esperance. Now tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, mate. So basically, I'm 29 years old. I live born and bred Esperance boy. Had a motorbike accident when I was 17, which rendered me a quadriplegic. So I'm paralysed from the armpits down. I have no use of my hands or dexterity. And I sort of, didn't bow my head and say it was over. I made a go of it, and I'm lucky to live a great life now. I've got a 10-month-old son, operate a business, and just having a great life. But now it's changed slightly, so just trying to isolate slightly with the times that are going on to protect my health and my family's health, and hopefully we'll come out the other side all good.
Yeah, tell us some of the challenges. Obviously, for those with special needs or disabilities, it's challenging at the best of times, but this has added another layer. Can you talk us through some of the difficulties people with disabilities are facing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. And so myself, I obviously need carers to come into the home and everything like that. So I've reduced as much of that as I can, but I still need people to help with my showers. I don't want my wife to help with that. That's the scariest part, I guess, is having people come into the home and possibly in bringing the infection in with them. Although we're trying to put matters in place, washing hands before coming in and face masks and everything like that. The risk to people with a spinal cord injury, particularly quadriplegics, is we have very limited lung capacity because we have no longer a diaphragm working. It's hard for us to get big, deep breaths in, and especially if you have phlegm on the lungs, very difficult to cough them up. You need what they call a quad cough, or someone to push on your stomach as you cough to help you get it out of there, basically. And I was in hospital last Australia Day with a regular flu, and this one, as they're saying, is far worse. So it is quite concerning. Not wanting to, die, especially with a young family, as I do, just trying to stay inside as much as possible. We're pretty lucky down here in Esperance where we can get out and isolate on a beach with no one around, but not seeing anybody anymore, and just trying to spread the word. I put a video on my Facebook page because a lot of people, they're young and they think, I don't care, I'll be all right. But they probably will be all right, but it's more the point that they may contract it and then give it to someone else who's got an 80-year-old nana who probably won't be all right, or someone like myself who also won't be able to get through it. I've got a friend, Damien, who had a huge cancer battle a few years ago, and he's the same. If he were to get it, it's a massive risk for him. So I just tried to put a message out there to remind people that, these are not times to be selfish or worry about money and going to work. I mean, we're lucky to live in Australia. The government announces so many incredible stimulus packages that none of us really have to worry. We'll be all right. Money will wait. Your health won't. So you've got to put yourself and everyone else at number one.
Yeah, that's great, Jamin. Now, obviously, for people with disabilities or special needs, they feel ostracised and can feel isolated, in normal times. How do you think they're coping with this strategy of social distancing and in a sense, isolation?
It's everyone that has to do it, not just people with a disability. I mean, people with a disability have to be more wary of not contracting it. But if everyone out there is doing what the government recommends, staying isolated, I'm very lucky. I'm doing it with my wife and my son. So it's like family time. Currently, it's been like a bit of a holiday, if I'm honest with you. But other people out there, luckily we live in the day of the internet, so there's so much things you can do, and rather than try and waste it on Netflix, I'd just recommend try and wake up every day and come out of it better, educate yourself, get on Skillshare, YouTube how-to videos, just try and learn something new every day, even though it sounds cliche, but, make use of your time in isolation and try and think of the positives instead of the negatives. It's a cliche, everyone's saying it, but back 100 years ago, people were asked to go to war, and now we're just asked to stay at home, really. So at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world, and hopefully, if you do that, it won't be the end of your world.
Jamie, it'd be fair to say, obviously, when you had your accident, it created a level of uncertainty for you about your future, and you've made a go of that. You've obviously learned some valuable lessons. Right now, there's a lot of people that feel uncertain. What would be the thing that you'd say to people that are struggling with those uncertainties?
Look, I was 17, so at the time I didn't think I was a kid, but now I look back, I realise I was just basically a child, and I had my world struck down in one foul swoop. I went from a kid that could do everything independently to having to get help with brushing my teeth and eating food. And that was a huge change, but I'm lucky to have a positive outlook. I think some people, unfortunately, don't have that balance in their mind. But I would just I was listening to a program on the radio yesterday. At the end of each day, he was saying that it was called the Resilience Project, actually. So I'd encourage everyone to Google that. And this gentleman was writing down, telling people to write down 3 things that they were grateful for at the end of each day. I'm lucky. I do see the things that I'm grateful for, but I would recommend anybody do that and try and have a perspective. If you're in America right now, there's 120,000 confirmed cases. There's no unemployment benefits. The dole doesn't exist, and there's no healthcare. So be very grateful that you live in Australia, a country where all those things are readily available to you. And just take solace in the fact that if you do stay inside and isolate, your chances of getting it are very slim. So it's a matter of having the correct mindset that you will come out on the other side a better person, and you would have lived through the crazy year of 2020 that the coronavirus came down on the world.
Well put. Now, obviously, just to wrap it up, we're calling these sessions Stronger Together. A lot of people do like to think of themselves as fairly independent, but you would have learnt that we need each other to get by. What would your Stronger Together tip be for the community?
Yeah, that's a good point. I am very reliant on other people and just to get me going in the morning, and I'm extremely grateful to have them in my life. Don't be afraid. My tip would be don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're feeling lonely, pick up the phone and speak to someone. Quite often there's other people out there feeling the same, or someone that just wants to have a chat as well. If you're young, able-bodied and able to go do some shopping for an elderly neighbour, that could make the world a difference to that person, and it would also make you feel good on the inside, and it means you're getting out of the house for a good purpose and not just to go and, escape your enclosed space. So just try and, rally together and know that, 6 months in the scheme of life is nothing. I've been in a wheelchair 12 years now, and I can't even believe that, really. Wow. And 6 months will fly by before you know it, and you'll look back on this time perhaps and wish you made better use of it. So that's what I'd try and do.
Brilliant. Jamin, thanks so much for chatting. You're an inspiration to us, mate. All the best.
Thank you for having me on, mate. I really appreciate it.
So great. That was Jamin Hudson, and we're talking to a bunch of guests across these conversations, Stronger Together. You can check them out on your Creating Communities platform. Look forward to chatting to you again soon. Until then, take care of each other, and remember to follow the government's advice around COVID-19. We are stronger together.